it would suggest that Dortmund are the only club who are actually serious about signing him, which points to one of two things. It either means that he's always had his heart set on a move to Dortmund, which is totally understandable because obviously his brother had a great job there, his family. I think his mum lived with him out in Germany when Jude was at Dortmund, and they obviously had a really good relationship with the club. I think his father was one of the ones who really pushed Jude to move to Dortmund because he obviously has a great insight into football, being a footballer himself. I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if, when Dortmund said they're interested, the family and Jobe himself were like, okay, well, Dortmund makes perfect sense, so there's not much point considering options elsewhere. And the other option as well is that he's maybe just not that good. And the fact that a lot of clubs have taken a good look at him and thought, okay, he's a decent player, but, he plays for a Sunderland team who are going to be playing in the Premier League next season, and according to all reports, Sunderland are holding out for around 40 million euros, as you said, the release clause for him, and they're not really willing to accept anything less. Now, I think he is a very useful player. I think he's a great number 8. He's great at dribbling. He's great at intercepting, defending, tackling. He's got a decent range of passing in the final third. Echoes of many of the things that Jude Bellingham was capable of doing when he first came to Dortmund, where he was kind of considered this kind of physical jack of all trades. And then I think over the course of his time at Dortmund, he kind of developed into a more kind of curated technical number 10, in my opinion. And I think that's the player he is to this day. Bellingham, that is. Bellingham. Dortmund by all means might be saying, well, Jobe's showing all the same kind of strengths and qualities that Jude did at his age, so we're quite happy to go out on a limb, stick 40 million euros on him and see how well he does. There's also the fact that, Dortmund will almost certainly need central midfielders this coming season. You look at that team and the central midfielders they have. Salih Ozcan will be moving on. Marcel Sabitzer is probably moving on, and if not moving on, he's not going to be a starter just because of age and things. Pascal Gross is a really important player for Dortmund, but obviously not a young player anymore. Emre Can's now 31. Carney Chukwuemeka is expected to leave the club after his loan deal and not come back. And that just kind of leaves Felix Nebcha as the only kind of obvious kind of number 6 or number 8 who would potentially be challenging Jobe Bellingham for a starting role in that Dortmund team. And I think the other thing as well, just one more thing before I finish up, his profile as a young English player who will get plenty of time. The Bundesliga obviously suits box-to-box players very well because there's always so much space to run into. He might do perfectly well at Dortmund. He might not become the next Jude Bellingham, but Jobe Bellingham could still become a very good player at Dortmund. And I reckon Dortmund are probably banking on the fact that even if he doesn't become his brother's, Mark II, they could probably still sell him back to the Premier League with a pretty decent profit because he's English, because he's young, and because he'll probably still do pretty well in the Bundesliga, even if he's not a world beater.